The locks didn't turn. They just clicked, foreign and final. My key was useless. I stood there on the porch I'd paid to repair. The porch of the house I'd saved from foreclosure. I could see her through the glass of the front door. Just standing there, watching me. My own mother. I pressed my hand against the cold wood. All my life, I trusted her. All my savings gone into her hands. Every promise she ever made. The bag in my hand held the final bank transfer receipt. The one that cleared her last debt. She didn't move. She didn't open the door. She just watched me struggle with a key that no longer worked. My heart wasn't beating, it was shattering. Silently, into a million pieces in my chest. I turned and saw them then. Black trash bags, heaped on the manicured lawn I paid to maintain. My clothes. My books. The photo albums from my childhood. All of it thrown out like garbage. The neighbors' curtains twitched. Humiliation burned my skin hotter than any fever. I walked to the pile, my hands trembling. And then I heard it. The sound of the window sliding open upstairs. I looked up, and there she was. My mother, leaning out with a cup of tea in her hand. She didn't look angry. She didn't look sad. She looked satisfied. She took a slow sip, and she smiled. That's when the laugh bubbled up from a place I didn't know existed. It started quiet, then burst out of me, raw and loud into the quiet suburban air. I laughed until tears streamed down my face. Because in that moment, I saw the truth with perfect, painful clarity. And I knew. This wasn't the end of my story. It was the beginning of hers. The story begins with the protagonist, Maya, a 28-year-old graphic designer, receiving a panicked call from her mother, Carol. Carol, a widow who has always presented an image of comfortable middle-class stability, is sobbing, claiming debt collectors are at the door for a loan she took out after Maya's father died. The amount is staggering, $87,000. Carol spins a tale of bad financial advice, medical bills she hid, and the terror of losing the family home, the last piece of Maya's father. The emotional manipulation is immediate and potent. Your father would be so ashamed of me. I can't let them take the house he built for us. Maya, an only child, has always been the good daughter, the fixer. She has $45,000 in savings, meticulously built for a down payment on her own condo, her escape from a modest rental. She liquidates it all. She takes on a brutal freelance schedule, working nights and weekends, sacrificing her social life and health. Over 18 months, she pays off the debt in chunks, transferring money directly to her mother's accounts, sometimes to various collection agencies Carol directs her to. Carol's gratitude is effusive. She promises Maya can move back home to save money afterward. She talks of rewriting her will, of the house being Maya's one day. This house is yours, sweetheart. You've earned it. We're a team. The signs are subtle but present. Carol becomes secretive with her phone. She takes shopping trips and comes back with new jewelry, claiming it's fake. She hires a landscaper for the garden Maya used to tend. When Maya questions a $5,000 transfer to a final collection agency, Carol erupts in tears, accusing Maya of not trusting her after all she's sacrificed. The guilt is a weapon. Maya dismisses her doubts as stress. The final payment is made. Maya feels a hollow triumph. She is exhausted, financially at zero, but her mother is safe. She plans to move her boxes into the spare room the following weekend. Carol helps her pack, all smiles. The day arrives. Maya rents a small truck, arrives at the house she grew up in, her childhood home she now feels she owns in spirit. She walks to the front door, key in hand. It doesn't fit. The visceral description of the betrayal follows the video hook. The locked door, the bags on the lawn, the smile from the window, the laugh, the neighbors, the sheer soul-crushing public humiliation. Maya, in a daze, loads her trash-bagged life into the truck. She drives to a cheap motel, sits on the stiff bed, and the numbness gives way to a seismic rage. But she doesn't cry. She gets very, very quiet. The revenge is not violent or illegal. It is meticulous, psychological, and leverages the very trust her mother exploited. First, she goes to the county records office. The house is not in foreclosure. It never was. She hires a pie with her last credit card. The debts were real, but not what Carol claimed. They were luxury credit card debts, casino markers, and loans for a new car for her mother's boyfriend, a man named Richard, whom Maya has never met. The collection agencies were Carol's own bank accounts and Richard. The money wasn't for survival. It was for funding a secret, lavish life. Maya's father's life insurance policy, which Carol said was small, was actually substantial. She'd blown through it. The narrative of the struggling widow was a complete fabrication. At that moment, I wondered if anyone would have survived this realization without breaking. The ground beneath my feet, the very history of my family, was a lie. Maya's plan crystallizes. She knows her mother's vanity, her obsession with social perception in their small community. She knows Richard is a leech who likes flashy things. She uses her design skills to create fake documents, official-looking letters from a fictional family inheritance and debt resolution firm. She anonymously sends Richard's wife, he's married, detailed records of his spending with Carol. She then begins the long game. She gets a temporary restraining order based on the illegal eviction, forcing Carol to allow a police escort to retrieve sentimental items still inside. During this visit, Maya wears a hidden camera. She is calm, polite, a wounded daughter. Carol, confident and smug in her victory, slips. She admits on camera to taking the money, saying, "You owed me for raising you. It was my money anyway." She mentions Richard's name. This clip is gold. Maya creates a fake, lavish Facebook profile, befriends Carol's circle, and slowly drips gossip about Carol's debts being magically cleared and her new boyfriend's shady finances. She doesn't accuse. She lets the community connect the dots. She sends the video clip, edited for maximum impact, to Carol's pastor, her book club leader, her gossipy sister. The climax occurs on the day Maya had originally planned to move in. Instead, she stands across the street, watching. Carol and Richard host a backyard barbecue, a celebration. The guests arrive. Then a process server arrives, delivering a civil lawsuit for unjust enrichment and fraud, filed by Maya Pro C. The public spectacle is deliberate. The guests see. The gossip ignites. Minutes later, Richard's furious wife arrives, causing a scene heard by the entire neighborhood. The facade crumbles in real time. Maya doesn't attend the court date. She provides the bank records, the pie report, the video. The judge rules in her favor, imposing a lien on the house for the $87,000 plus damages. The house must be sold to pay the judgment. Carol's perfect world implodes. Richard leaves. Her friends abandon her. The community sees her for the manipulator she is. The aftermath is bittersweet. Maya uses the settlement money to buy a small, clean apartment of her own. It is quiet. It is entirely hers. There is no family heirloom, no ghost of her father, just peace. She receives one final email from Carol, full of vitriol blaming Maya for her ruin. Maya deletes it without replying. The greatest revenge was not the financial ruin or the social exile. It was her own indifference. She had laughed on moving day because she was finally released from the prison of seeking a love that was never there. The lesson was carved into her soul. Sometimes, the family you survive is the one you're born into, and the justice you build is the life you create without them. The ending is emotionally satisfying not because of Carol's downfall, but because Maya finally looks forward, her gaze steady, her heart scarred but whole, and her future unwritten and truly her own.